Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell here, we have a fun interview. I always mispronounce your name. I was calling you Guruthos for short, or like, what is the proper way to pronounce it? Guruthos. Okay. All right. Nope, that makes perfect sense. And so, do you prefer Guru for short, or Guru, or what? Do you have a preferred
Just
nickname?
Guru.
Is it
It's
Guru?
so much easier to pronounce.
Alrighty, gotcha. All right, so we have our technically fifth place, was it, or was it fourth after?
Fifth.
Fifth, okay.
I have tiebreakers, but I lost my top 8.
That's all right. I mean, you're fifth in day two. You placed, I think, third overall from the event itself. You were third going into day two. So, I mean, it looked like a really good position on pretty much what is considered the best deck in the format currently. I don't know if it's still changed after a couple of changes on slimes. But before we go too deep into your deck and everything like that, how was your Ascent Chicago as a whole?
Oh man, it was so much better. Like my first Ascent ended up being Worlds, just because I really wanted to go and I really wanted to go to Vegas. And Ascent Chicago. Sorry, I have a cat who wants to say hi. Ascent Chicago was so much better. Like I remember, I love being able to play in a solo event. Like playing in teams is okay here and there, but man, I felt like I was super well favored into this meta. Like I could outplay any of the mirror matches. Tristan was always going to be that sort of matchup to where I was like, okay, if it's a really good Tristan player, then I'm gonna be a little bit nervous. But for the most part, like Chicago was great. Like I was there for the regionals, I top 8 that regionals, and then coming back again, I was ready.
Hey, you got the practice, knew what the field was going like. So speaking of sort of what you expect to see, what'd you end up facing afterwards? You face anything fun? Anything that you didn't expect to see, I should say?
It was pretty okay. Bayleaf's deck, I was not expecting to play him twice that tournament. And I thought, okay, on one hand, I think that matchup was a bit favored for him, but I really thought he was on something else. So I played horribly wrong in day one. And then day two, I played a little bit better, but like I think he just made a couple play mistakes. But and both matches ended up in a draw anyway.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes sadly how it happens. And since you said you had a fun time in Chicago, what was your favorite memory of Chicago while you were there?
Oof. Okay, so I didn't get to go to any good restaurants, which kind of disappointed in that. We like day one ended at like what 9 10 o'clock,
something like that.
And I think realizing that Ordinary Bear was playable was my most exciting memory, because I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm playing with my fiance plays the exact same deck that I built, and I'm like, you know what? She didn't day two, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna build Noelle's deck for you. Play that, and she's like, I love Ordinary Bear, and I'm like, okay, I'm on Ordinary Bear now. But no, besides that, getting to meet everybody, getting to see like everyone from the chess club team. Like I ended up talking with Matt like a week or before Chicago, and like I think everyone agreed that Sylvie was just the best deck, and if you're not playing it, then you should try to play something that beats it. But the only person I know who could actually beat me with that list was Matt. Oh, Matt G.
Yeah.
On his robots list. Everything else was like, yeah.
And of course, Matt G ends up bringing Erupting to the event.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's like it's second because
I mean,
of course he does.
If Matt's not playing Erupting at a big event and topping, I mean, is it really an Ascent? I mean, so speaking of Ordinary Bear, I mean, I assume I know the answer to this. Promo or non-promo version?
Oh, the promo version is just the better one. I have foil non-promo versions, but I'm not going to run them.
Yeah, I mean, promo looks so much better. All right. Well, glad you ended up having a good time. Yeah, I mean, even the restaurants. I mean, I think that was my own experience too. Was that restaurants, like, even at the end of day one, we ended up just going to the hotel restaurant. It was like 9, 10 o'clock, and it was just, all right, guys, let's go grab food. Like, that was just...
There was this one place that it was like, it had pasta and burgers and hot dogs, and it was just like this huge restaurant. I don't know what it was called, but I remember seeing it there the last time. We ended up going to it this time. I'm like, oh, this is just fast food, but nicer.
I know I didn't go to it, but I ended up getting Giordano's or something like that. It was like had almost sort of the same menu that was not badly priced. So that was really worked. I mean, hey. So speaking of now the best deck, the Boogeyman originally of the format, arguably, if it still is or isn't, we'll see what happens with the very errated Stone Scale Band.
Okay, the amount of things that I could pull off with Quicksilver Grail by going Quicksilver Grail Recollection or going Quicksilver Grail. No, sorry, not Quicksilver Grail. Stone Scale Band.
Yeah.
It's like level 1 to level 3 play, not changed at all. The problem is that 1 cost is probably going to set you back, and you really wanted to play on your opponent's turn during like eco matches and the Tristan matches, and now you're like, you're gonna have to just play out your cards normally.
By the one cost, do you mean the materialization cost or the activation cost?
Honestly, the materialization cost. The materialization cost is probably the worst part, because most of the time, hey, I got 3 cards in my memory, I'll just play Stone Scale Band, because most of the time it was free. Even if you're discarding 1 card out of memory, if you drew into another baby green, you could discard more. But now it's like you have to have a choice of, do I want to go down another card and potentially banish like a Storm Slime or one of my important slimes?
For those not aware watching, there was a BNR update. Stone Scale Band went up to 1 cost materialization versus 0, and now it costs 2 to activate, as well as only for next activation of an ally. I'm assuming I put this up on stream if I'm saving myself editing time. Hopefully, people watching this. Hopefully,
yeah.
I could be wrong. I mean, I'm lazy.
I'm gonna miss Stone Scale Band. The best card in the format.
I mean, card's good. I mean, this is, before we get too much in deck, because I have to talk about a deck idea I've talked about with others about. Not even a deck idea, just adjustment to this deck. Is there more value now to running more slime eruptions to then pay out your Stone Scale Band from grave, banishing the extra slime, and then Stone Scale Band gets to come in for basically free and then use its ability?
I think it's correct to run 4 floating memory. That's why I actually really like Ordinary Bear, because it is, I'm actually playing Ordinary Bear and the Slime Eruption. That way you're having almost like 9 to 10 floating memory. And then it's sometimes correct to go like, oh, on turn 3, when you're going like Dungeon Guy into level 3, you could play Slime Eruption or just leave one of your floating memory in the yard. That way you're guaranteeing yourself, okay, I know what I can banish.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so going into deck, looking at our material deck here, I see the normal, I would assume, I'm going to call it the normal default package. Quicksilver Grail, Backup Charger, Guy's Blessing, Covenant of Thorns, Horn of Beast Calling, something like Verdant Scepter, Boots. Pretty much normal package. I don't think there's anything spicy or anything extra. Is there yeah. I mean, is there a reason why we didn't run Ears? Maybe just didn't expect too much of the Dusklight Communion matchup to come up in game 1, or...
Okay, Dusklight Communion is bad. I'm just going to say that. It is only good if your opponent doesn't respect it, but the moment your opponent respects it, it's bad.
Very fair. I respect it. I mean, I respect the opinion. I'm in the same way. And if we go on down the main deck, I mean, we have the usual list. We have Baby Gray Slimes, Whistle Callings, 3s. I look again, we're going to the old 3 Escape the Wreckage. I know some lists are going down to 2 now. 4 Limitless Slime, 2 Reprogram. So this is something, because I know you mentioned it earlier, you're fearing Matt's Wind Robot list. Is this something you just brought in expecting to see more of the robot matchups maybe early on or more later on that you want to have it in there early?
I just expected to see it at some point. Like, I ended up playing against Wind Allies twice, and it did pretty much win me the game automatically, but if I could redo it, I probably wouldn't be playing Reprogram's main board.
To make it the Ordinary Bear.
Yeah. Just it's so much better.
Bear's a good card. And then we go a little bit further. 3 Slime Eruptions, normal, 2 Baby Blues. I mean, I know most people are jumping between 1 and 2s. Is there a reason why you want to go 2 versus 1? Is there something that when you're building makes you want to run this card a little bit a different number than others?
It's okay against allies, but honestly, it's just that card I wanted to discard with Stone Scale Band or banish from memory. That's it. It's basically never going to see play. I generally rarely play it. It's just something I could discard to get to that count, that magical count of like 39 to 40.
Gotcha. 4 Gatherers expected, 4 Baby Greens. Such a good card. Still, I think, one of the most insane slimes printed. Not going to lie. Slime Shield, Storm Slime, Ethereal Slime, 2 Lustrous Slime. So this is where everything gets a little interesting, a little bit different than other builds. So you're going 2 Songbird versus the usual 3 to 4. 2 Himagai's Grace, which is almost self-explanatory. Good if you're facing the Tristans. Good if you're facing any aggro matchups, if you're able to get to level 3 because you just redirect an attack. What's really interesting here is Metal Bloom Dryad. All right, so I got it here because I know some ran it, some don't, some love it, some hate it. What's your reason for why you wanted to run this card in the list?
Okay, so I had no ability to practice between the regionals for the Yeti regionals to Chicago Ascent. And I saw this as, hey, this is actually pretty good in the mirror match. And I'm like, I'm probably going to play the mirror match 5 out of maybe probably half of my matchups, which I only ended up playing it twice,
Hmm.
which I'm kind of sad about it. And it was really good. I loved it. Like being able to go play this, make it a 2/4, play Ethereal Slime, make it a 6/6, and forcing your opponent to go, oh, you have to clear both things because if you don't, I'm just going to get so much value off this Ethereal, this Meta Bloom Dryad that it's just going to run over the game. Like there was a point where I got my Ethereal Slime to an 8/8
Oh,
by
jeez.
just these two cards, and I was like, "Oh, this is great!" And then I was immediately blown out by an opponent who had 3 Force Cakes, a Crux Slime, and a Bestial Frenzy in their hand, and I'm like, "Ah, that is how I lose this matchup."
Peak gameplay. Peak gameplay.
But now it's just it's immediately cut from the deck. Unfortunately, it's just not worth it with the Stone Scale ban because one hand you could actually discard it with Stone Scale ban, but now it's just you want more cards in your hand. You can't just wish risk
So
it.
with it being cut, is there something you added more of after? What did you replace it with? If you're
So
running?
I actually really like the Terrasite. I added the one
Okay.
Terrasite and I added back Turbocharge to the deck, just because both cards do allow you to draw that extra bit of power in the late game and early game. And of course, Terrasite is basically just a +1 every turn.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I was honestly a big fan of Turbocharge myself. Back when I was trying to run slimes, I did say, like, I need more draw. Turbocharge. Easy. All right, so that makes some more sense. And then into our sideboard, we have 1 Beast Bunny units, 2 reprograms, 2 Resolutes, 3 Slimes Blessings, 2 Trio Slimes, 2 Vampiric, and 1 Verdant. All right, I have to ask, I'm going to talk about this card first because as much as I try to run this deck, I can never understand when to bring this card in. When do you bring in this Slime Blessing?
Okay, so I was told to bring in Slime Blessing against like the Mirror match
Yep.
because then it is just an additional slime card that you can banish, but also it helps with your slimes when you're going wide. I'm going to be honest, I strongly dislike the card now, and I do not want to run it ever again.
Okay, I'm not the
It was
only
also
one.
something. It was also something. If your opponent was playing Dustlight Communion, you wouldn't bring in Beers. You just bring in Slime's Blessing
Okay,
because you still want to keep your Beast Spawn boots.
yeah. All right, that makes sense. All right, so then Beast Bunny I assume is brought in for the slimes, the Dustlight Communion. If you expect opponent to run it, I assume this comes in the side from the sideboard.
Oh yeah.
Nothing, anything else, or mostly just that.
Uh, yeah, it's mostly just that.
Makes sense. And then we have the 2 reprograms, 2 Resolute Sands. I assume the allies match up when
Oh yeah.
robots. Is there a
I
God?
I love playing Resolute Sin against Nico.
Oh,
And
oh yeah.
just I mean, it does a little bit, but
Yeah.
it does give you like that one out to where if they do technically mill your entire deck, you can just Resolute Stand and take one more turn.
Yeah, hey, it does give you that extra turn. And weird question: do you ever bring this in versus in the mirror at all? Resolute Stand?
No. I think that's a mistake.
I might be cooking too much. Don't mind me. Twilight Slimes. I assume the mirror, Merlin's, Rise, anything that's pretty much dealing
Yeah,
spell damage.
I didn't expect any Rise, but I'm like, oh, Twilight Slime. Oh my gosh, Twilight Slime with Stone Scale Band was so good, and now that that's just kind of off the table, it makes me sad.
Yeah, I mean, fast speed dealing with fireballs is a really good interaction when you can use it. Vampiric Slime, now Verdant Slime. Now, I've had some debates back and forth about Verdant Slime. Like, I personally ran it in the main board. I enjoyed it, especially, but I also have a locals for like Physis. So I loved making all the Physis cry by Baby Green sliming their dagger and Verdant sliming the dagger. Really make their turns painful. What is the main goal that you're, especially because it's the 1X, what's the main goal you're trying to do with Verdant Slime?
So I was trying to figure out. I was like the day of. I'm like, okay, I can either play a third Resolute Stand or I can play a Verdant Slime. And I went, you know what? I'll play the Verdant Slime just as an extra slime. And honestly, it was. I wish I had two. Like
Yeah.
it used to actually just destroy Stone Scale Band, but I love being able to bring it in against these like Pfizer matchups as well as Tristan, because most of the time they'll bring out their dagger to start like just chipping you, and if your follow up is just Verdant Slime, destroy your weapon, and they don't have Stifling Trap, then that's pretty much stopping them completely until they just try to combo you out.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Yeah, it's also pretty good. I mean, especially because I feel like also if your Vertislime's eating a Stifling Trap, that's pretty good value on your part. It's not eating your Ethereal Slime. It's not hitting your Storm Slime. It's not hitting even something like a Luscious Slime to deal with any other chip damage. Granted, you can't deal with normal attacks if they Shadow Strike you. But it feels like it's a pretty good card to have in.
Yeah, I remember playing against Henke, and I destroyed his Stone Scale Band, and he had 12 cards in his hand, and like because I destroyed his Stone Scale Band, I am like 100% certain I won that game because of that. Because he wouldn't be able to play pre-rec 3 slimes on the board and then play another 3 slimes. It just kind of destroyed his tempo.
Oh,
Of course, now Averted Slime doesn't actually do that.
yeah.
Now, the one, who knows?
Daggers and no lanterns, I guess. I mean, it's all we're hitting with it at this point. So that's pretty much what we have for the deck. And now going through your run. So what did you end up facing, if you can remember? I know it's been it's almost been a week already.
Oh,
Week since Ascent Chicago. Do you remember what you sort of faced into going up into day 2 or?
okay. Yeah, so what was it? Round 6, so it was 7, 8, 9. Round 7. Let me see. I remember playing against a Fire Merlin. I remember playing against a Wind. My first matchup was Wind Diana Allies, and that matchup felt so free that I felt bad. Just went to level 3, and I just baby green slimed. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of matchups. I think I faced the mirror match, maybe, like I said, maybe once or twice during the entire tournament. Once we were getting the later rounds of day 1, I went into Tristan. Lost against him, but he was like my only loss for the day, and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. Going to the 8th round, draw in because I'm like, okay, if I go X2-1, I know I will get to day 2. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to prioritize day 2. I draw last round, play against Bayleaf. I thought he was playing Nico, so I was playing around stuff because I think he went like turn to what's the called? The Icebound Slam. And I'm like, okay, he's playing Nico. Clearly, I remember him playing Water Lorraine like from regionals. I'm like, no, he's not playing that. No way. Oh, he's playing Assault. And we ended up taking like 40 minutes in game, or no, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes in game 1. I get him in game 2, and then it was just like 5 minutes left. I'm like, okay, this is a draw. I'm like, okay, you know what, day 1, top 32, good enough for me. Day 2 was a bit more interesting. Ended up playing against Peneke, beat him 2-1, or I think beat him 2-0, or 2-1 or 2-0, something like that. Then the following matchup was Bayleaf, unfortunately. Same thing happened. We get to like the last moment in time, and I'm like, I've got lethal on him because of a Resolute Stand in my hand, and try to swing, I just don't have that like last few seconds. So draw on that one, not too bad. He could have. I think he might have been able to win if he had more time, but like there's a limit to how much you could have time to think.
Yeah.
Then it was Tristan. Funny enough, this Tristan player I actually ended up playing at Michigan regionals, and I beat him there. Replayed him again, managed to get him 2-0. And then the final match, of course, was I did not believe I was going to win my final match. It was Win Sylvan.
Oh, wow.
And he was playing 4 green slimes, 4 academy guides, all this just value. And I'm like, I don't think I can beat this. Not in my wildest dreams. I don't think I can. If he just stifling stuff into a trap, like he's going to get more cards than me, and that's it. Game 1, he makes a play mistake where he doesn't protect his green slime completely, and I managed to kill it after it was a 4-5, and he's nothing on the field left, so he doesn't go into level 2 immediately. And I'm like, okay, I managed to just get to level 3 and finish him off. Game 2, he had the worst hand of his life, I think. He skipped his first one. He went into backup charger and then into just random cards. Finally go into level 1, and he was at level 2 once I killed him with just normal cards. I think he literally just drew maybe 10 advanced element cards. It was bad. I felt really bad on it because I did not think I was going to win that matchup.
Just one of those days. Well, not bad run, from it sounds like for the most part. You got some of the matchups you were sort of expecting, the mirrors, and then some unexpected matchups of Win Lorraine. I mean, not Win Water Lorraine in Seoul. So now that the event's over and you sort of played this list and you sort of been through the whole bracket, is there anything that you would look at changing from your list at all? I know we talked about the reprogram going in and Ordinary Bears coming in. Is there anything else you sort of felt like you would change?
I definitely want to try to draw more cards to have a bigger influence going to level 3. Tristan matchup is really heavily dependent on having more influence and trying to make them interact with you. So if you don't, they're just going to get to 12 cards, hold up like Zephyr, Shadow's Dagger, or whatever, and just out combo you the entire time. Mm-hmm. So at this point, like I said, I'm adding a Terrasite Turbocharge back into my list just because, hey, those cards are going to be in the late game, early game, and of course, Metal Bloom Dryad just won't really stick into the long term.
Yeah. Alrighty, and then I guess I don't really have much else. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or anything you want to add in general?
Man, no. Honestly, I love this game. Like, I came from Magic, and
same.
I have never been a fan of Mana Screw, and this game just goes like most of the time you're never facing that. You have a choice, and most of the time you should be able to win a game. If you can outplay your opponents. That's honestly my belief is even if you're playing a slightly worse deck from somebody, if you can outplay them, that's really all you need to do, hopefully.
No, right.
Besides that, man, I am tempted to go to Singapore after this. Just because I want to go to another Ascent before the next set. But no. Judging from I might be playing Mage. I want to play Terrasite in a Mage deck.
A lot of people do. I want to play Mage. I mean, so I know you want to do Singapore. Is there plans to go to Toronto then? I know it's going to be that weird situation where, like Ontario, you have the 2 weeks after the release is Ascent.
100%, I'm going to Ontario.
Okay.
Like it's a 6-hour drive up there. We're gonna go visit a friend in Rochester, but like immediately after, we're heading over there, and I'm excited.
I feel like I'm the only one on the East Coast not driving, and I'm flying in. So I literally looked, and it was like $200 for a flight from where I'm at to Philadelphia to Toronto, and it's like a total of 3 hours. I'm like, sure, that seems a lot easier than driving 8 hours.
Oh yeah, no, like I used to live in Florida, and I live in Ohio now, but it is so much easier going to events now.
Yeah.
Like you don't drive from Florida to Toronto.
No.
You have to fly. Now it's like, oh, well, if it's on the East Coast, that's 6-8 hours. It's easy. Done.
Central has it the easiest, I swear. I swear. So that means because then you drove into Chicago. So yeah, I'm jealous. I'm moving to Central. Seems all the card gamers are anyway. So, well, thank you again for taking the time to do this interview with me and talk about your Ascent Chicago list and sort of your experiences. And then, like I said, I want to thank you again for doing this interview. It was fun having you. It was great to talk, and hopefully I will see you at Toronto. And do this again, maybe if you top again.
I am really hoping so. I've heard that their Spirit may be wind, and I gotta go win this. Oh man, I gotta win it then.
Like, I think it's called Blessia.
Oh no, my fiance is like, you gotta get a wind spirit from. You just gotta try.
Yeah, gotta try. I mean, do you have the water one yet?
No. This was my first technically solo Ascent for Spirit.
Gotcha.
So,
well, congrats, and definitely congrats. Now you have to get the wind one in Toronto, and then get a wind one at. Oh God. So no, there won't be water again in December.
Yeah, I really hope it's on the east side. Like if it's on the east side, man,
I hope so too. Done. I'm dying. I want to go to Houston again, but East Coast December is a little questionable. It's a lot of snow around that time of the year.
Oh yeah.
But
I wonder if it could be California again.
I hope not. I'm not spending $2,000 on a plane ticket to Cali. I didn't do Ontario for that exact reason. I was like, I'm not spending $2,000 to go across the country. I'm good. But all right, well, thank you again. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone enjoyed the interview, and then I hope to see you and I hope to see everyone else later on. Thank you and have a good one. Peace.